Welcome to Booked, the bookstore education podcast brought to you by the American Booksellers Association. This episode is part of our Indies Introduced series, where we spotlight debut authors handpicked by booksellers from around the country. In each episode, a bookseller from the Indies Introduced panel will interview the author of a debut title featured in our program.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Ambir. I am a bookstore owner of the Book Lovers Era here in Utah. Today we're going to be welcoming Eric King. He is the author of A Clean Hell, and I am so excited to have a discussion today with Eric. We're going to read a little bit about Eric's bio real quick, and then we can get you into this chat with Eric today, okay? So we're going to welcome him, and Eric is an anarchist who was in prison in 2014 for acts of solidarity with Ferguson, Missouri uprising. While in federal custody, Eric was indicted for a self-defense incident at SCI Florence. Eric took it to trial and is one of the absolute few people to ever win a federal trial, which is something we're going to talk about. After his victory, Eric was sent to the federal Supermax ADX, where he spent most of his final 2 years of the prison bid. During this time, Eric co-edited the Political Prisoner anthology, Rattling the Cages, Oral Histories of North American Political Prisoners. Eric survived years of documented physical and psychological torture and made it out of prison with heart and soul intact. Eric is an activist, anti-fascist, and a loving father and husband. He currently lives in Denver, Colorado, and we are here to welcome Eric. Welcome.
Yay, glad to be here. Yay.
All right. So we're going to just get into it. Honestly, you can give us a little bit of the reasons why I picked your book. So I am part of the Indie Introduced platform, and what we did was we read a ton of authors that were debate authors, and A Clean Hell was actually the first book I picked up when I started reading, and I absolutely loved it. I didn't want to stop it, and I was mad because they only let us read the first few pages, and then we keep going, but I absolutely loved it. I loved the story, coming from people who I have a background of history when it comes to having family members that's been in prison. So I would love to listen to your take on it and just discuss the book all in whole.
Let's go.
All right. Okay. So what motivated you to share your personal experience in A Clean Hell?
With this book, something that motivated me was the fact that these stories are not out there. There are no books documenting what it's like to go to federal trial and win. Especially not like the bad parts about it, like the exhaustion, the mental drain it takes on you, on your family. And then there is absolutely nothing about ADX. That is a prison that is so infamous for holding all these wild people like El Chapo and the Unabomber. And the only stuff that's out about it is what the government has put out. And having both of these unique experiences together, it felt almost negligent not to talk about it, not to give people an opportunity to learn. And then also it was good therapy for me. I got a lot of trauma. I got a lot of stuff I need to cry out. So
yeah, that was it. It was really something that brought you in. It's a story you haven't heard yet, So it was one of those stories that I was like, okay, so this is something new. I didn't even know this is like existed in this aspect of like going against trial and doing all that, everything you went through to go to that trial, and your experience at ADX was something, again, you don't normally get to see. As you were writing this book, how did revisiting those experiences shape the way you understood the chapter in your life now? So like your time that you had at ADX, how did writing this book help you understand that better?
The book, as I kind of alluded to, like it was big therapy for me. And right now in my day-to-day life, I have a lot of trauma. There are still things that affect me. I'm still on lots of medicine right now for like mood stabilizing and depression, stuff like that. And when you're writing a book that's so vulnerable, it opens up those scars and helps you conceptualize like the reason I'm so sad right now is because I got sexually assaulted. The reason why I can't have people touch me is because I did all this years of segregation. Like these things take a physical toll, and you don't always realize it until you open up those wounds and start trying to heal them. And that's what this book did for me.
Yeah. The thing is, like, when it comes to you talk about your mental health, when it comes to that, had to play such a major part when it comes to how your family dealt with it and how you dealt with it, and going to being able to happen to write it down and revisit those times and just have to relive it. It's had to be healing, but it also had to be some form of like, man, this is something that everyone should see. So we can understand when you come into this prison, when you come into the ADX, that like this is, I don't want this, it's gonna happen, you know it's there, but how do you get over that hill? Like how did you push to get over that hill?
Lots of crying. Um, it felt because I was telling other people's stories as well in the book, it
Mm,
felt like I was doing a community service, like I was fighting for those who will never be heard. And so
mm,
that helped me a lot to where it's not just me. I'm not just trying to raise up myself and my ego. I'm raising up others. And that helps you like work through a lot of the hard stuff because sometimes it's easier to fight for others than yourself.
it is.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and then like when people see your story, it legitimizes it. It makes it feel real.
Mm,
Like now I'm seen. I don't have to gaslight myself. Like, did this actually happen? Like, am I being a baby? Am I overreacting? And so it gave me and my family a chance like to be seen, to be heard, because it happened to them too. Like they went
yeah.
years and years without seeing me or talking to me. And that trauma, I exist through their trauma as well.
Yes. So like you said, you did highlight a lot of lives and experiences of some people that you came across in the facilities. Like, how do those relationships and stories kind of shape what you wanted people to understand about your life when you were in prison at that time?
Yeah. It was really important for me to understand that like I'm not unique.
Mm,
That even though there's not other stuff out about this, that's just because the other men that are there haven't been given a platform or they've been so buried that there's no way for them to get their stories out. Being able to tell the stories of people that have been there for 10, 15, 20 years that you will never hear of. Like people, there's no chance that a book reader will ever hear about Shahid, or Tariq, like these men that I met that had such big hearts and such devastating stories. And
mm,
I didn't want them to be defined by what the prison determined to be their worst act. I wanted them to be defined as humans that have hearts and empathetic lives. And I wanted people to see them that way. And so going over their stories really shaped the way I formed the book because there's more to this world than just me, and there's more people that have better stories than mine, and they deserve that just as much as I do, if not
yeah.
more.
Yes. I really did like that a lot. Because seeing different how wherever different places you went and how you interacted with different people based on the level of max when it came to the prison, and how you, because you know where you were at more of a maximum where you could not AX, where you can't really communicate as much, versus somewhere where you were able to actually communicate and deal with that separation, and just have that little bit of interaction with certain people that again you told their stories and got their people to look into their lives and see like, okay, so this is not just a one person thing. This is, this is other people going through this also. So I really love that about that. And I just had to tell you,
Mhm. Thank
I think
you.
my first one, I think my first one was the healthcare system and how the healthcare system is in the prisons. You hear about it in the world, but you don't think how bad it could get, or like the things that can happen, this illnesses and all that stuff. So I love how you brought that to light. Um, when readers are reading this book, when they finish Clean Howl, what would you hope that stays with them when they read in this book? What do you want them to feel emotionally, intellectually, or even how they see the world when you're looking at it? Because, like I said, we could you can know that there's trouble, there's all this stuff brewing underneath the aspects of it, right? Underneath the prisons, but you don't see how bad it you don't really see the worst of it. You see what the government wants to show you. You see what only certain people want to show you. So what do you want readers to take from this?
Um, Yeah, and so just to jump back real quick about the reason I included the healthcare stuff was
Mm,
because so often I hear this ignorant thing of, oh, people go to prison just to get the free healthcare. People go there
not.
just to get free food. And it's such a devastatingly horrible thing to say to diminish people to that level that they're willing to face massive amounts of repression and potential death in prison as opposed to like what? So I hate that. I hate that they think that that world exists. But I hope people read this book and take from it that there are humans inside. There's not monsters. There's not animals. That there are people that have families. That your grandfather, your brother, your sister, your mom is just one bad government action away from being locked up. Like we don't know what's going to be illegal tomorrow. We
Mm,
don't know what can happen to any of us. And those people inside are someone's family, and
yeah.
they should be treated the same way you'd want your family to be treated. You
Mhm.
would want your grandfather to be treated with love and to have medical care and to be spoken to like a human and to have access to you, to other family, to friends. And if you want that for your grandfather, then it only makes sense that you would want that for someone else's. And I hope people can take from it that we should never define someone by what is considered their worst moment. That they
Mhm.
have a lack of impulse, they have a moment of rage, they have a moment of devastation, of depression, and something comes from that. And a socioeconomic lack of opportunity that leads you to this place that you didn't ask to be, but society determined you need to be there. We should never just look at someone in that moment and say, that's who you are, and you deserve vengeance upon you. We should
Yes.
never do that. And if that's the way we're going to view society, then that's not a society I want to be a part of. And I hope that these stories and that these hurts and pains can influence people to have more empathy with those inside, as opposed to more do the crime, you do the time mentality that serves nobody.
Yeah. Yeah. That's absolutely, yeah, that's 100% real. Um, Especially with the state of today's world and, trying to figure out just going to just a simple a book like we have a book read in a lock-in for banned books, like just a simple act could ended up us behind bars. So you never know what can trigger that moment. And again, like you said, everyone's human and we're all, when you go back there, it's just, okay, it's just one thing that happened. You're just trying to make it better, right? Um, Trying to make the best out of it. So when you talk about, I know you talked about your family and you talk about, everyone being human. I know your story highlights on the power of the community towards the end. You talk about more about how your family and the people who, even when you were going to trial, the people who were there to support you and stuff like that, as much as they could, as much as they allowed them to. Um, and the gaps that people face. So it's like a two-part question, honestly. The gaps what people face when they're transitioning coming out, right? So coming out, transitioning back into your household, your kids, you haven't been around your kids as long. These little things, like you said, you don't want people to touch you because it's triggering. So, what changes do you hope to see when it comes to support from coming from like how we support people coming from incarceration?
I would really like it that it's every answer I have is lead with empathy. It's always what would you need? We overlook things. We think when people get out of prison, it's going to be the best day of their life. All of a sudden, you're free
Mhm.
and you get to do everything. You get to go eat pizza and do this. And people forget the mental health aspect that, like, that is a cripplingly terrifying experience, like, for real. We forget that people need towels, socks, shoes, a phone, headphones. We forget that people need things to survive, that you can't just get released from prison all of a sudden, everything's good. So I would like for people to understand that if we want to heal society, if we want to have a community that allows for people to grow, not just them to
Yeah.
grow, but to help others grow as well, then we need to be there for those that are coming out of these horrible circumstances. And it has to be tangible help. It can't just be good luck. It has to be good luck. Here's access to a doctor. Good luck. Here's some socks. Like stuff like that. If we're not going to provide that stuff, then we're just creating a pathway for people to go right back inside.
And that's my big thing. I feel like when it comes to it, I just really hope that we could figure out a way to make it. better, because the whole thing is to get them to reintegrate into society. And if you are not giving them the proper tools to do it, then what are we doing, right?
Exactly.
So well, thank you for that. I swear this book is an amazing read. So you're one of the few um to win against the federal government, which is a amazing thing in its own, because I've seen a lot of people go up against them and not come back with anything tangible or anything remotely decent. So when you did, just as one last question, so when you went up against that, like, um, were there any thoughts of like, okay, if I don't win, what happens next? Like,
Yeah. So one thing I was the first to do is write a book about it.
that's
Um, so that's where it becomes
where it was the
yeah,
first,
the
yeah.
first. Um, when you're facing trial, what happens is the prosecutors often bully you with plea deals and threats. Like, we'll give you this, and if you don't, we're going to do this and this. So it's coercion. They're trying to force you into taking a plea deal to admit you did something wrong. And in my case, the plea deal was essentially 20 years, 20 years for self-defense. And I could not allow myself to accept that. And they did everything possible. The prison tries to bully you into taking the plea deal because they want you out of there. The prosecutors do this. Your lawyers do it. Lawyers will try to push you because they don't want to go to trial. That takes a lot of
No.
time, a lot of
Yeah.
money. And so I never had a second thought about doing it because I wasn't wrong. Like, no one has the right to hurt us, even if they're a Bureau of Prisons official. And thankfully I had, like, my family, my wife, she was brave. She believed in me. And she said, if you want to do it, like, let's do it and let's give it our all. And I even took the stand on my own behalf, and I got to talk to the jury and explain to them how, even though I'm a prisoner, I'm still a human and you don't get to abuse me. I got to explain why I hate prison guards. And this jury heard it and agreed with it. They agreed, like, yeah, you did have a right to fight back. And that's unbelievable that that could ever happen. And it was through self-belief, but don't get me- like, this is also terrifying. Like, that is not a
Yeah.
linear, like, we're gonna win. It
Yeah.
is it is a circle. We're gonna win. I'm screwed. We're gonna win. I'm screwed. Um, but we I hope it encourages people, like, we need to stand up to them more that way.
Yeah.
We don't have to let them bully us into every plea deal when when it's not always true, when it's not honest, when it's not decent. Like, they don't have the same rules we have. And sometimes we have to fight back and, like, make them earn it. If you're going to give me this time, earn this time. And when you fight back against bullies, they often back down. And sometimes you win.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming with us. I know we're getting ready to release this book, so your release date's coming up, and we're really excited about it. What do you want to tell booksellers when it comes to selling your book, the people you want this book to reach? Is there anything you want to tell them on about this book?
Yeah. So I intentionally reached out and wrote about lots of groups of people. I wrote about disenfranchised Black communities. I wrote about trans people inside prison. I wrote about these stories that will never get heard. And I think I would like booksellers to keep in mind that that's the audience. The audience is people who might not ever think about prison, but might also have family, friends, or comrades going to prison. I would like for booksellers to think about the fact that we've got the market cornered. There are not other books about these topics. And that's important to remember. Like, Luigi's going to go to prison soon. He's going to go to ADX. Nicolas Maduro, the leader, ex-leader of Venezuela,
Yeah.
he's going to go to ADX.
Yeah.
There's no other books that will talk about this, but mine does. And it does from a place of empathy and from understanding, as opposed to a very dull, boring academic way. No one's trying to read a textbook about prison, but they might be wanting to hear the heart and soul and bones behind it. And that's why I would forcefully push on booksellers. Sell the empathy. Check it
Tell
out.
the empathy. All right. Well, thank you again for having us with you today, for talking with me. I'm really excited to sell this one. I have it on my, I'm already have it ready to order for me. So thank you. We can't wait to see what you do further on, and then good luck to you. Okay.
Thank you so much. Please write prisoners. Please write someone inside. They need love.
Yes. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you for listening to Booked, the bookstore education podcast brought to you by the American Booksellers Association. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast app. Additional educational resources can always be found on the ABA site at www.bookweb.org. Happy reading!